It's 7:02 on Thursday, November 20th, and I will call the Finance Committee meeting to order. In the room from the Finance Committee, I have John Croft, Gar Morse, Peter Twining, Andy Olderman, Lori Creighton, myself, Sarah Mellish, and on Zoom, we have Dean Nahadas. Also in the room is Ann Harrison from the Select Board, Andrea Mainville, Finance Director, and Tony Barletta, the Town Administrator. So the first item on the agenda is the fiscal year 26 Q1 report, which I believe was sent to people earlier this week. Do people have?
I just had one minor question, which is really on public safety police. Looks like at the moment we're about 42% of our expenditure through the year. Is that kind of normal, or? I always know, I know you're always lagging because you're trying to catch up. You know, this isn't tied directly to payroll, but didn't know if we're on track or what we think's happening.
Well, in some departments, including the police, we have like a lot of dues and subscriptions and one-time payments that happen that kind of skew that like percentage on the side.
Yep.
As far as I'm aware, that's what's happening.
And I had sort of a general question on just expenses with some town departments. Is it normal for them to be pretty well spent at this end of the first quarter? There are a number. Is that sort of the pattern?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember whether that was typically the way it worked or not.
Yeah, and then we'll have some, like on the flip side, we'll have the opposite where some departments look like they're not spending at all, and then all of a sudden May and June, like all their bills come due.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I understand how that worked.
Yeah.
It
So
was more about the first quarter, not the
exactly,
fourth
it's like,
quarter.
oh, did we have enough money towards the end of the year? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Andrea, I was gonna ask, just looking at this quick,
Yep.
could you do quarter to quarter instead of, you know, percents? I think we're talking about seasonality, which is showing up in some of the
Right.
budget items. So if you looked at first quarter to first quarter, then it'd kind of be apples to
It
apples.
is quarter to quarter.
You have to, if you
I did do
scroll to the right,
I didn't do percentage changes from one quarter to the other.
Okay,
That
that's-
makes sense.
gives the first quarter of last year.
And I thought
Yeah.
revenue generally looked very strong,
It is.
pleasingly strong,
Right,
but is that unanticipated? Is that something you would know? No.
no, unanticipated.
Yeah, the licenses and permits were
Yeah.
very high. Do we know what that's from?
It's from a bunch of little things. I know it's not one like large property. I don't recall. But
A lot of building permits?
for a building and electric.
Anything to really draw attention to, in your opinion?
Yes, my email that I sent, it was,
Yes, you mentioned
Mentioned
the
a couple
permits
of
that you,
things.
on the revenue side,
yes.
and on the expense side, I've now forgotten, you had two items, I think, three.
I correct you actually, legal professional services,
Oh, yes.
especially the legal services, we're running at a higher rate than we have in the past. And I know we've run higher before in the past, but it was even higher. So I'm concerned about that. But it seems to be across the board, throughout the town, like different departments needing it, like we've had some ENA issues, we had the Republic strike. The Central Pond Culvert Project appeals, the Health Department property issues, there's the planning board. It's quite a few different issues that have been happening so far this year. So I just want to keep an eye on that.
The
but-
ZBA has an ongoing court case where the town council had to represent us, which is unusual for ZBA stuff.
On the culvert, legal fees, has anyone looked at what it costs to just repoint the wall for the lady? As opposed, I mean, I think we're spending more on legal fees than it would have been to fix the damn wall. I think we should do a comparison of that before we get too out of hands with our egos on this.
And the legal fees that we're expending is related to the process of going for the Chapter 91 permit. So they don't go away. it doesn't really go away. Unless we.
Well, I thought that the issue was that we're not in agreement with the abutter, so, you know, that's why. But maybe there's another permitting thing, I don't know.
Happy to chat with you on that, Dean, offline. I'm just reluctant to get into like details of potential settlement discussions in a public meeting.
Yep, no, that's fine. Just the litmus test of the cost of the legal fees versus the cost of the mitigation, I guess we should make that comparison.
Electric,
Electricity,
burning the midnight oil or rates going up? Or
rates
both?
going up, cause I just processed, bills this week and we had a lot of National Grid bills and the electricity is running very high. So that is something I'm gonna be looking at, to see where we're at with this.
But does the community,
The aggregation.
Aggregation.
Yeah, but, they don't do municipal.
No, we're not.
Yeah, it's like a commercial
okay,
property, I guess, yeah. I know, it'll be nice, right?
Andrea, do you have trouble with National Grid's just accounting? We, in our business, it is
Yes.
crazy. They mix up buildings, they mix up accounts. It's unbelievable. And I can imagine in this town, it must be absolutely out of control, you know, I mean,
Yeah, it's hard,
it's them, you know, their
Yeah.
accounting
Yeah.
is just off the charts ridiculous, but anyway.
yes. We have found that we've had to issue separate checks for every single.
Yeah.
Meter, which
Keep it clean, I guess.
it's
Yeah.
it's the only way, we've had some issues with like, trying to get anyone there.
Yeah.
It's even been in my listserv, and there was one community that was like, well, I know someone, and I sent a spreadsheet. And so everyone's like, well, what's your guy's name? And I'm like, I'm not telling. It's magical first, I think you're making it up. So yeah, it's across the board.
And more yours is.
I know, Mike, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just mix up accounts and we're doing exactly the same thing, sending multiple
Yeah.
checks, but you know, I imagine in this town, you probably got 15 or 20 accounts and
Yeah.
that's just
And I don't understand,
burdensome.
yeah, and they renamed town hall to police department, so.
Yeah. So where I was going with this is that they're probably running credits on one account and debits on another,
Right.
so you have a cash flow problem, so right,
Yeah.
it sounds like you're on this.
Dean, did you have something to contribute?
Well, more recently on the National Grid, but more generally on the my comments on the spreadsheet. But first for National Grid, my big concern is how us going to the aggregate supplier might affect the priority of service commitments. I'm sure by law, they have to treat us equally, but we just need to keep an eye on that, I think.
The town's not on it.
Well, we're going over to an aggregate supplier, I think, aren't
Not
we?
the town, just residents.
I see that. Okay, the town opted out. Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Not allowed in.
Town's not allowed in.
I see. Okay.
I opted out.
Well, just look at the company that was low bidder. Oh my goodness.
Andrea, parking, could you help me there? I don't know a whole lot about what I know we have an arrangement with the meters and all. Is that running different than?
It is, so we started the parking stick program last year.
Yes.
We had a certain number of sticks that we got and we're like, okay, this is working well. And then we pretty much doubled the number of parking
Yes.
sticks. But the way that our agreement reads is like an average cost, minimum cost per stick.
Oh.
And I wanna review it with the town clerk and the police chief just to see that it's really not costing the town more money than it's bringing in.
Thank you.
The other two items I had was the rubbish
So-
collection and disposal.
Hold on, Dean.
Okay.
Rubbish collection and disposal is low because we were working with the vendor to,
That might be a positive number.
Did we get a discount?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
yeah, and how is that finally resolved today? Right? For the most
Well,
part.
we got a good response today.
That's better way to say
That's
it.
a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's better.
they basically went to all 14 communities and reduced, regardless of what contract language each community had.
They vary between.
They vary, and we don't have great language in our contract. So in our contract with them, it actually protects
thought so.
Republic
Yeah.
from cost impacts due to a strike.
That's right.
But they said, we'll reduce your invoice for the services that we did not provide. Which they did, which was great, but what they didn't account for was our cost to supplement the services they didn't provide. And they charged us for the additional dumpsters and things that we needed for
Yes.
the transfer station that we ramped up because of their lack of service. So it kind of became a little bit of a, they sent us invoice with those reduced amounts, and they said, if you pay these within 20 days, you waive any right for additional, claim or anything like that. So we did not do that. And instead, we came up with our own calculation that was accounted for some of those additional things and sent them a letter saying, this is where we're calculating it, and here's a check for those 3 months. And the response we got today was thank you, and it seemed like they were gonna accept what we had sent over.
They cash the check?
Email.
That's why I say, that's the indication. And if they do, I believe the contract is in our favor. If they cash the check, then they waive their right to.
It's mutual, yeah.
Yeah, so. We played a little chess with them, dance for a couple months. However, our contract is up at the end of the year. And we even if they didn't go through a strike, we expected a significant increase in our costs, whether it's Republic or some other company. So that is gonna be a big item of ours that we're gonna have to keep a close eye on going into next year.
Is the contract up on December 31st or
June.
June? Okay.
Yeah, so now that once they cash this check, we'll be going into discussions about what another contract might look like. We're not required under mass procurement law to procure disposal services, so we can sign a new contract with them. We'll see what we get for numbers and if that makes sense.
Let me ask you a question.
Will we be able to get, okay, sorry. Yes, will we be able,
Will that
Sorry.
require us to change the methodology of our collection? Do you anticipate?
So if what we're gonna ask Republic and what we would put in a procurement if we were to go out on the street would be to get pricing for both. What we do today and what automated collection. Most companies are moving to automated collection, and it does produce a lower rate because of the savings in labor costs.
Thanks.
Dean, go ahead.
because of the volatility of next year's budget with the sanitation, will we be able to get bid solicitations at least returned in time to plug in a decent number for our budget the beginning of the year? Or is it going to be extended till May as a wild card in our budget? Like, is there a timing to get some initial pricing for the following year?
That's what we're gonna try to do that, Dean.
Yeah.
In the worst case scenario, we're gonna have to plug a number in there and estimate as high as we can. Chuck was reaching out to the DEP Northeast coordinator that and she was giving us what neighboring communities are looking at for contract prices and to kind of give us some sort of guidance on what to plug in.
Okay, well, it might be easier just to put out a rec and get it, actual prices, but okay.
I may do that. I wanna see what I get out of Republic first.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Yep.
So I had some more sheet comments, the quarterly.
Okay,
Okay, on the revenue page, what are we who are we charging interest to? I see there's 75,000 in interest.
Oh, interest charges?
Yeah.
Those are interest charges on real estate, personal property, motor vehicle. Oh, excellent.
Okay, for like late payments?
Yes,
Yes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Wow.
so you better be on
Okay.
time.
yes.
Okay, that's what that is. Thank you. I noticed the ambulance was what was it? Was it high or low? I have a red dot.
Yeah,
It's low, okay.
yeah,
It,
so,
it
go ahead, sorry.
no, I was looking at what it was, but it's only the revenue is down, and I'm wondering if there's a reason or if this is a trend to watch.
No, there was a reason. So when the federal shutdown happened, everyone's concerned about like whether to send in Medicare payments or not. So the ambulance companies are kind of like, Jake can maybe speak to this too. Like we're holding off for a little bit and then they started resuming, submitting those claims. So there's a lag in time for that.
Okay, so that should rebound at some point.
It was also compounded by, we transitioned to a new billing company. So they didn't bill for July and August until the end of September. So there's going to be a slight delay in payments.
Okay. Good. You hired someone to beat up the insurance companies, huh? All right. So that was the revenues. On expenditures, the fire overtime still a little bit high, but you know that could be seasonal. The harbor master expenses, is that something we're going to get into with the launch stuff maybe? But that was a flag. And then I was curious, is this permit software on the building department, is that completed now? Is that just a one shot price and we're done, or is that gonna
No, that's an
continue?
annual cost.
Okay, so we paid it basically, and it was only 80% of what we budgeted.
Right, because the 4,500 that's left over is for projects. So like every time we bring on like a department into the permitting system, there's some like transition setup fees and things like that. And so that's what that remaining amount is. But the 20,000 is our annual cost for the software.
Okay. The lifeguard salaries is, I wonder if we have too many people down there. We have to look at that, but that was running high. The what is Tux Point? Oh, the salaries are like the Burgess woman who's runs Tux Point. Okay, never mind.
They're seasonal, Dean. So
Yes.
the majority are in the first and the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Same with the lifeguards. It's first and fourth quarter.
I know, but we expended 60% of the year already. Maybe that's normal,
Yeah,
but
but there's really only 1 month of June at the end of the year.
okay, you're right. Yep. That's right. It's a good point. Sorry. Yep. That was, well, you want to get into capital?
No, I'm not there yet. I want to talk about enterprise fund revenue.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
It looked strange to me that, if I read it right, the sewer utility usage is down and the water usage is up from last year.
Well, the water, are you looking at the total?
For the quarter, I'm looking at the quarter.
Yeah, for the like 449,000 for water compared to last year's 311,000. Is that what you're looking
I'm looking at, so under sewer, I'm looking at this year, 155, and last year was 171. Whereas water this year is 371 and last year was 3085. I would have expected them to be more
I
in
see.
line,
Right,
so that's surprising to me.
okay, I'll have to look into that, but off the top of my head, I would say people use their irrigation meters more. But I'd have to verify that.
Maybe people have bumped up to a higher rate and for the same gallons, they're charged more. I don't know.
Oh, that could be, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that could be.
It was a dry summer.
And the other thing that surprised me was the capital fee line underwater. It's my understanding that's paid quarterly.
mhm.
We budgeted 81,200 and we've already collected 77,400.
So I put that 81,000 as just as the first quarter commitment. So that's
Okay.
just one quarter.
Okay,
I don't think that'll change going forward, but now since it's like the first real year, I wanted to put something in there to say, okay, we committed and billed 81,000, but we've only collected 77,000 of it so far.
because it's not a budget item.
Right,
Okay, got
Yeah.
it, okay.
Got it.
That was what I had in enterprise. We're ready to go to capital. One question I had, Andrea, the last column H has some numbers in it, but it doesn't have a label.
What are they?
305,000.
So if you look on line 38, Tux Point Rotunda,
yep. So I added up. So to make my formulas work in this, on the enterprise fund FY analysis, I added up each fund expenses. So that column H, 305,000 is the total capital expenditures in general fund
okay,
for the quarter.
okay,
And then down below the 24,000 is harbor capital expenses so far this quarter.
and what's the expense balance is what we spent from that line item, correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
I see, I see.
So.
And the dredging line, on 46, Andrea,
Mhm.
the 24,000.
Is adding,
We haven't been doing dredging. Have we been doing dredging that
well, the 24,000 adds up all of the harbor expenses, but the dredging, we spent $6,000 and we're still working on the permitting.
Oh, permitting.
Like those kind of related expenses for the dredging. Okay.
I mean, the permitting takes like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
And
no,
then boom, we do it.
Yeah,
So,
and then start all over again.
It would start all over again. They're always permitting.
yes, permitting, yes, yes.
anything else on capital?
Sewer treatment. Got it. Replacement, okay.
Dean, did you have something on capital? So I'll ask a question just because I get confused sometimes. Line 10, police cars. We budgeted 73,750 and we spent 64,390.
Mhm.
So is that difference extra or do we have something else to buy?
There's something else to buy.
Okay,
Cause like we have the purchase of the car.
Yeah.
And then we have the purchase of the lights, the installation of the lights, the radios, the painting, the
Markings and.
you know, the rough tough book thing that goes in it too, all that ancillary.
okay.
And that makes up the difference.
Yeah.
What's the difference in the cost of painting for the black and whites versus the ones that are all black now? That you can't read the name and
It's
see that
actually-
it's police.
It's actually cheaper to do the all black one than.
Okay.
the other one.
I figured, yeah, okay. That's why everyone's switching
You're
to it.
keeping an
but
eye out for us.
You can't tell it's a police car.
I know. Well, if you look at
That
it.
tells
just
us
right.
something about the chairperson.
Anybody else have anything on capital?
The compost facility transfer station, line 25,
Yes,
109,000. I don't know what are we doing there for capital?
so the last part of that project agreement was to repave that one section up to the transfer station, which was just done.
In November, yeah.
On Veterans Day.
Right.
Okay, so that's what that was for.
So that
I
was-
wish
that was
they'd
the
made
last
it a
part
little
of it.
wider.
We had a little more.
Suspension, thanks, Judy.
I was kind of thinking Black Earth should pave that road because their trucks are the ones that are, boy.
She's
Just
saying it's
another-
part of our agreement, Dean, to do that.
Yeah, I know. My favorite agreement. All right.
Any,
So next was, I know the DPW facility, we were gung ho on doing 860, but I think Peter was at our last meeting or the meeting, they're kind of putting that on hold a little bit because they're not sure about where the police station and everything.
well,
Is
let's
that,
ask Chuck. Chuck's on the phone. Let's ask Chuck.
Yep. What's the question?
So the DPW facility has a budget of 860,000.
Right.
Dean thinks it's been put on hold.
well, some of it.
It's not on hold. We're working with the facility planning committee. We're evaluating additional options. We will have a need this fiscal year, which is what that money's for, to do additional preliminary design. We might evaluate more alternatives that include the police and fire as well. But then, we'll at some point we'll move to the next phase. But I mean, we're still evaluating it.
Okay.
So you think the 860 is good for this? Well, you might have already spent it. It's just lagging. But
Right. Well,
anyway.
yeah, we haven't done an amendment to our existing agreement or solicited, more RFQs or anything like that yet. But I would like to.
Okay. Is the flood proofing and generator done now? The line 35?
Is that for the fire department? I'm not sure which. The fire
yeah.
department, I think, is almost complete. I think we still need the National Grid was there last week to renew the gas service going into the building, and I think they need to set a meter. So we're still not quite there, but pretty close.
Okay, that's for the fire station. I was thinking that the town hall and the library were set, but there's another one. Okay.
The library is set. That one's done. The town hall one is still kind of in development.
Oh, okay.
What floods?
Is there any word on the so on getting to our favorite line 38? Any word on additional funding on the rotunda? I know we were applying for, I think, more Economic Development Council grants.
We'll discuss the rotunda when we talk on the capital budget for this year.
Okay.
It's a line item on that.
Yeah, that's a big one. Okay.
Remind me what the Sweeney Park Engineering is doing.
Building cars.
Really? Sweeney Park Engineering, that's drainage, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole park potentially being, we've looked at several alternatives with, turf fields and additional, making the fields better, but then also the parking has always been an issue with that drainage. So I guess it's predominantly a drainage project, but there's also, the idea that we could hopefully expand or otherwise renew the fields, but it's still kind of in progress.
I'd recommend a 4-inch top dressing every year.
There's no
Around the
conclusion
field,
on
so.
that work. There's no conclusion, is there, Chuck? I mean, we're still trying to figure out whether we can more adequately drain that area. Is that, I think, the essence of this?
I think Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Nate's still working pretty closely with the engineers on that, looking
Yeah.
at alternatives, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so it's
So
still.
the answer is it's made progress.
Half done. Did you have something else, Dean?
No, no, no. Thanks.
No, okay, good. Anybody have any other questions on the first quarter report? No. We're good then. Next item on the agenda is the launch service 2025 season summary revenue update, which Andrea sent us.
And my basic question on this is just for the launches, not for other boats.
Correct.
Okay. And given that the expenses in calendar 25 seem very low,
Season,
more,
the season 25. This
Okay.
isn't calendar year,
okay,
yeah.
well, there's more year to go, but we can anticipate, this isn't the last word probably, there's more hanging around on the expense side, particularly on the lunches.
I don't believe so. If Brian's on, maybe he could speak to that, but I'm pretty
Brian's
sure
on.
that that's.
Brian, can you fill us in a little bit on the launches on this year in terms of what are the expenses still to go? I'm trying to figure out how profitable the operation is.
Right, so the reason it was higher last year, we had a mechanical repair that cost $4,000 or $4,200. So that's why the number was so high last year. Obviously, we still have the spring season left to go, so there'll be some fuel costs and winterization costs for the two launches as well. So we'll go up some. I don't anticipate it. Certainly, it won't be more than last year.
But that would be in this 26
That's right. This is a calendar year.
for the
Yeah.
season, yeah.
Right. So if going the calendar season, yes.
Service got enough demand to cover its cost, and if so, do we have the last word on this, or really there's probably further financial report to go when we get to 12/31? And I sense this is pretty much the close of it.
There may be,
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit more on the winterization costs. Under expenses, if you're doing it by season, like
Yeah, that's
the
what we're doing.
spring costs that you were talking about, Brian, wouldn't factor into this. That'd be-
Right.
Yes.
Right. If we're doing calendar, not fiscal, correct.
Right.
So far, service is sustaining itself and beginning to pay back the capital. I thought there was a question floating around whether it's sustaining itself, and these numbers, if they're pretty.
The last numbers that we showed you were alarming because it was the reconciliation of it was the issue. So the last few weeks, Bion and Jen and Andrea have been working to figure out what those, how to reconcile those costs, because if you paid for, if you paid online, some of the launch costs were being lumped in with mooring costs, and so it was, that's why the numbers were a little alarming the last time we met. Now it's been ironed out.
It's been ironed through.
Yeah, and this looks good.
So have we fixed the system so that next year they'll be recorded separately?
We're in the process of that.
Okay.
Don't worry, we're very motivated to do that, to not have to do that again.
Ain't that the truth?
We're working with the software company,
Yeah.
with Daqua to.
Darko, Unipay.
But the bottom line is we're moving along and it's paying for itself and paying back the capital, and
And then some, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the capital expenditure on that? Yeah.
on the other side of the table,
And then 20
we're down to 95, which is, I think, commendable.
And the boats don't need any work.
Correct.
We don't need any new boats.
Correct.
No, for the
Well,
launch.
we don't need new launches.
Okay. And none of the harbor master boats
different boats.
are used in the launch service. Is that right?
So I would say in the very beginning of the season, May, and at the very end of the season in October, when we get down to really the demand could be 1 or 2 people a day, I would say that the Eastern would be used and has been used to drop 1 or 2 people off as part of the boat being on patrol. That harbor master will carry the phone and handle the 1 or 2 calls that may come in over the course of a day.
And during the summer, though,
It's all launch.
if somebody calls for either gets a ride out or calls in to be picked up, no way does a harbor master boat pick that person up. Is that right?
Well, I would say if there's one launch operator, if we're paying one launch operator and they reach a critical mass and want to make sure that somebody isn't waiting too long, if the harbor master boat is free and the harbor master is free, they would certainly call and ask the harbor master to pick up a person and drop them off. And then we do use it as part of the red, white, and blue breakfast event. So we do use the harbor master boat then. But the harbor master boat can only carry 6 people. So it's not planned part of the daily operation.
Boats have a way of eating money. And then I say this not from municipal, but personal experience.
Mm.
And very often unforeseen events occur at sea, shall we say, particularly in regard to expenditures. So the likelihood, for instance, and we're talking about the launch business, in our launch business, that an unforeseen circumstance arrives and we have to spend $42,000 to repair Caterpillar diesel or whatever it is, we feel we don't need to worry about these things. Everything is buttoned up, has been looked at. We feel confident. We've provided for the future. And this is an ongoing business that holds water, so to speak, to mix the metaphor or use the metaphor. I guess I should have gone
That was a
have
question.
up speak at that. That was sort of a question. Is this a business that's soundly in place, and we're not going to be confronted by something goes, oh my God, we had 3 years of making money and now we're in the soup kind of thing. That's my question. If I sound like a skeptic, that's my job.
Well, that's all right, Gar. It's okay to be skeptical. I have skepticism myself,
Okay,
but not about the launch.
all right.
So if we don't vastly increase our annual ridership, if we don't see a vast increase in the number of people requesting harbor tours, all of which we can control by saying no, then we're just fine. But if we want to see growth, if we want to encourage more people to use the seasonal launch service, if we want to accommodate the growing number of people who do want to come down and go for a harbor tour, then I would say at some point the discussion would be, do we get another inspected vessel for a launch and not an inspected and an uninspected vessel? So that's for time. For right now, the numbers we're carrying and what we're doing, it's absolutely sustainable, in my opinion.
Brian, should we be setting up a reserve against major future problems in our budgeting?
We did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your answer.
So that was part of the discussion when the launches were purchased. There was a very detailed breakout of future expenses, replacing engines and that sort of thing. Andy's got some ideas that you'll see in the capital budget to bring down some of the expenses for the annual maintenance and transportation and storage of these vessels. So yes, yeah, I feel like we are trying to plan for future expenses. Got to replace things eventually.
I guess that's my suggestion. I don't know more what your thought is on, you've had more experience with launches, but it seems to me that it would be useful to have in the budgeting set aside, I don't know, a certain amount. I may suggest, again, something that will happen. I mean, there will be transmission problems. There will be larger expenditures that come along. That's the nature of launches. And I think some providing for that would be, I think, useful.
I guess my concern is that we're not paying off the capital very rapidly, and I would be reluctant to add more money to this budget.
Without raising the rate? In other words, that would lead to a rate probably pretty big. Okay, I mean, that would be, yeah.
If I'm not willing to increase the budget, if this revenue can't cover the expenses, then we shut it down. And that's what we were saying. And if we increase the budget and the expense line, then we're decreasing the profit, so we're decreasing
The payback.
the payback. And the payback is not at a very high rate in my book.
We're missing depreciation then.
Yeah, I've had my hand up.
Part of the challenge, I think, Peter, is that except for like the fire apparatus fund, correct me if I'm wrong, we really don't forward fund depreciation. You know, we kind of wait around and hope something's gonna happen, not gonna happen, and then when it does, we jump on it. But to Gar's point, you know, we are kind of close to the line here, and expenses don't typically come in as, you know, 100 here, 100 there. It comes as thousands here and thousands there. This is a tough one. I just had one question on the salaries, because it looks like from last year to this year, we had a pretty big jump. And I was curious, Andrea, if that was a timing issue, like we got started late last year and then this is a normal year, or is there something going on that next year that number may be 32 or 33 or 34 to climb up?
No, I feel like this year was a normal year. Last year we did start late, you know, then we had to bring people on and that, so it kind of ramped up last season, but then we had people return this season.
Dean, did you have a comment on the launch?
Yes. My turn. Because, you know, my observation is, yeah, we're making $12,000 profit a year, or that's gonna return our $125,000 investment in about 10 years.
Right.
This is a lot of work. I salute Bion for even taking it on, but for the town, I think there's a lot of, like, insurance adjusters just have to see dollar signs when they go to Reed Park. I mean, I don't know if all our added insurance costs are in here. I noticed there's 2 extra trash cans at Reed. There's 4 now. There used to be 2. The bathroom, the water bill was picked up at 2 stores this summer. Is that coming out of the harbor budget? I mean, it's different from the launch, but these are all things that are costs that aren't really figured. And is this all we're doing all this work to keep it afloat as of now, and it's all to break even in 10 years. So it seems like we're going overboard to service a few boaters that like the service. And should the town be doing that? I guess is the $1 million question.
I think that when we decided to go forward with this launch service, we were not necessarily expecting to make money on it. Our goal was to break even, and if we couldn't break even,
Right.
we'd shut it down.
Right.
And 10 years isn't that long to pay back a boat, I don't think.
Yeah, that's why I'm afraid about an unexpected substantial cost, because I'm not so much about the speed with which the capital is being paid back. I'm more concerned around the corner, you're gonna end up with a transmission issue or because you're shifted a lot, or something that's noteworthy, and we will not have taken that into account in our pricing for the service. I mean, if you added a reserve here, which I know is not our pattern, but we treat this in a different way than most of other things. That we'd have to raise the rate to understand that we'd raised the budget. Seems to me that if we keep this, we should have some kind of reserve there for an unexpected substantial repair cost.
I guess I'd rather see an increase in rates without an increase in the budget. And then if we find that,
To pay back the capital more rapidly.
right, and then we should,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, what's the market response if we double the cost of getting the launch out to your boat?
Right, I don't know.
Because, I mean, we do have to
Oh.
think about the customer a little bit. You can't just raise the rates
Yes.
like you do with the water bill. You can charge whatever you damn please with the water bill, but on a launch, some people might say, I'll row, thank you very much.
What's our annual rate
Question.
buy-in at this point?
I'm sorry, Peter, one more time.
What's our current rate?
Oh, so we're charging $575 for a season, $575 for a season. Which is more than Gloucester and less than Marblehead.
What's Marblehead charging?
They are pretty close to $1,000.
We're never gonna charge a bunch of
Um,
marble, yeah.
What about our mooring fees?
One of the higher fees in the state at $12.50 a foot plus a $2.50 dredge assessment. So it's $15 a foot to keep your boat on a mooring or at a
Which,
slip.
As a mooring holder, I'll tell you, is the bargain of the millennium.
Yeah.
Believe me.
As a slip holder, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
That's my reaction.
So,
I mean,
so it has been some number of years since there's been a fee increase for moorings.
But that's a different topic.
Yeah, that's a different topic.
Yep.
I think you treat it as a different topic. Mooring fees, we're talking about this boat being sustained at least a break even.
Right, I just didn't want to lose my thought on the
And how
mooring
many,
fees.
question for Bion, just, I know earlier in the season, Bion, I think Crocker's Boatyard was offering mooring, trip access. And I can't remember what their rate was, but it sounded like it was cheaper than Yacht Club and the town and everything. Have you had anybody jumping ship for that service, or is that just?
No, so Crocker, yeah, sorry, Maury. Crocker doesn't actually offer mooring service. They pay the town $575.
Okay.
It's the same exact rate
Per boat?
Per person.
per mooring. It's $575 per mooring. Then we do have the per trip fee, which is $10 per person each way.
How many subscribers do we have, Bion?
68. Andrea, I think that sounds right. 68 this year.
68 this year.
Yeah.
68.
68 families that are using the launch service.
Will the engines make it past 10 years?
Will the launch make it past 10 years?
Well, literally the engine.
Oh, yes. Andy's got his hand up. He's probably the very best person to answer that question.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been around launches for the last almost 20 years. And I know kind of what Guy was talking about earlier about expenses and everything else. And it all depends on the care and maintenance that you put into the asset. And buying's been phenomenal so far, and we plan on keeping that going. I don't see any major issues with that boat for at least another 10, 12 years, easily.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are we done with the launch service? So we can move on.
It's a
to
lot
the
of fun to
next
talk
item?
about, but you know,
Yeah, I don't think it should continue without a reserve, but that's
yeah.
certainly continue with the topic.
I appreciate your inclination to forward fund operating expenses. Believe me, boats are different than buildings. Boats, if there's ever an asset that should be reserved against, it's a boat. And believe me, I've had a boat since I was 6 years old. That's 72 years.
Look at the reserves over there.
Wow, I've been setting money aside for 72 years.
And what's it, Island? Wow.
Okay.
So I hope we come back to this.
I
for discussion.
respectfully feel we should think about.
Let's redo the budget.
Thank you.
Department
Okay.
appreciation.
Yes, good.
Okay.
And maybe Brian would think about it, what, if there were a reserve, what should we try to
Right.
aim towards?
I think one of the challenges is the reason we don't do reserves is because we don't want to charge residents on their taxes before an expense matures, and we only made an exception to the fire apparatus
But this is a different.
because we didn't have enough money for the $1.4 million
Sure.
apparatus.
I suspect since the money comes from the Waterways Fund and it's the boaters that are paying for the service, they would be willing to entertain the notion of this fund to ensure that the equipment that they pay to get them back and forth has means to take care of an emergency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And by the way, speaking as a member of the Downtown Improvement, the DIP Committee, soon to be renamed, by the way. Anyway, that Callas, Boo Bird, I don't know,
Bravo.
Bravo, you know, all of these entities and some of the apparel stores benefit from the, and I hesitate to use this term because I consider it inappropriate, vibrant downtown that we have. So we're doing stuff for the populace in general here. And so I'm in favor of all this waterfront baloney. So
Let's
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
on. Yes, Steve?
Just- Well, I wanted to finish with the launch by saying that it seems like the 60 or so people that use the launch really like it. And but at $600 a season, it's not really worth it for the town to supply. But maybe if they go up, I think the people that are paying 600 wouldn't bat an eyelash to pay 800. So that's what I would consider, but that's something we can discuss.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is fiscal year 27 proposed capital budget.
All right, so I have a couple handouts here.
Do you have it electronic?
This is the same information, just presented two different ways. The top page is basically just a list of all the requests, and the bottom page separates it out into what would likely be a, debt exclusion type question. But obviously subject to change.
No, we're done.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
One more.
And you got it, you have a copy there?
I think I have two copies of the same thing.
Yeah, it looks that way. So one of them is split into two different boxes, just because as you look at the first page where it's just everything listed.
What's
You know-
considered the first page? Which
The one
one?
on your right,
Thank you.
One box.
the one box.
One box.
When you look at it that way,
Page 2 is.
it's a lot in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Is it possible for you to send this electronically to Dean?
It would take me a minute to.
Oh,
There's no more pennies anymore.
I know, well, time for this.
That's true. Too.
Andrea, do you wanna walk them through this a little bit while I try to send this to Dean?
Um, So this is the list of all the capital requests that were received for FY 27. Broke it out by department. If you want me to go through each request a little bit,
Please.
Which page should we look at?
the one box. The one that shows 24 million in bold.
Yep, got it.
So first is my department, we're looking at a financial system software replacement. We did replace our software in 2015, but during that conversion, the company was sold, and then it's been sold several times since then.
Is this Clearview or something different?
No, this is SoftWrite. This is our municipal financial software that we use for the receipts, the expenses, and all that stuff. And the assessor uses it, the treasurer collector uses it, and my office uses it. The SoftWrite that we use is it's being supported, but it's not being improved. It's not like anything that we want to add or change or do anything to it. They're not doing that. And yet we get charged more every year for it. So they keep saying they're gonna not fund out it or anything like that, but there's been a lot of municipalities that have moved on. And so I feel like I don't want to be in the last rush of people to move on.
Yeah.
So we brought this up actually around COVID, and then kind of was like, okay, well, it's a big expense right now. Let's wait a little bit. So now we're looking to start that software replacement.
and do you know where you're going?
Not yet. We've done a couple demos, but there's really not a lot of options for municipal software, especially in Massachusetts. We've reached out to a couple new companies that want to, come into Massachusetts. But we haven't found one that doesn't have motor vehicle excise. So how can we operate even with one section of our revenues that?
Do you have a buddy
So
who is the person who keeps control over some other town like you do with this town? That you could call up and say, hey, Larry, what do you think? Who are you guys going to? Or that kind of
Oh, it's
stuff.
a big discussion in our
Yeah.
association. I've even discussed it with the North Shore Collaborative, because Danvers uses Munis, and we used to have Munis. And we were like, oh, that'd be great, if they can provide help and we can kind of piggyback off of their, but Munis has no interest in doing that at all. They want each individual community to have their own, because we do all do the same thing, but we also all have separate charts of accounts. We have separate departments. It's not all uniform accounting between every municipality. And Munis is a really large company, and they really focus on communities that have their own IT department in-house.
Yeah.
We don't. That's one of the reasons why we moved away from them. But I think that was before we were part of the regional collaborative, and if we could probably put Munis back on the table and say, okay, well, Danvers is already rolling out the updates. They can roll out the updates for them and for us. And if we're going to be moving our servers over to them as well, maybe that could be an option. So right now there's two, Munis and Vadar are the top two Massachusetts municipal accounting softwares. So we're fleshing that out right now. That will work best for all three departments and, not be a huge cost. And
So each town
burden.
puts up $150,000 per year.
No,
No.
that's just one time. That's for
It's
setup, that's
capital.
for,
Okay,
yeah.
and then per year, the cost is 20,000.
It depends on how many of the extra, how many licenses you have, but then plus Munis will have
Like
And
modular.
extra, they'll have different things you can attach to, like the master
Add-ons.
software, yeah, and each have their own costs.
And cloud-based versus.
I'm just trying to figure out whether I can put all these companies together and start a company to,
Make money.
yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
I'm really
Those
interested in doing
reserves
that.
you're working on. For the fleet.
Yeah, I can take buyouts, you know.
You can add a Harbor module too. like we're doing a
Harbor
whole
module, yeah,
package.
right.
Definitely.
Please.
Yes, see? There's a big need out there and
Okay, so we have a vendor right now that is not meeting our needs to stay current. Right, that's the deal. Question is where we go.
exactly. The next is the assessor department. We use Patriot, for our real estate and personal property, valuations. The last few years, I don't know if we've talked about this a lot at all, but, personal property and the DOR have changed the way that personal property is calculated, especially for utilities. So Mass Electric is like our top taxpayer, in town, actually, because of all
For
the
the
person.
brick building?
Every pole.
Every pole, every line, every, you know, it's all personal property, it's huge. So, and it's a really complicated calculation, and so one of the things that the assessors reached out to is, the real estate research consultants, it's RRC, and they specialize in this personal property valuation. They represent you, they, kind of like, it's like a full package service for personal property. Which I think is a very valuable thing, especially because it involves our largest taxpayer. And Patriot Properties has they don't have the staff any longer that has the expertise in this personal property utilities. So that's why this has been brought forward. And to continue on with the Patriot, they are upgrading their software. We are I want to say it's 4 or 5 versions behind most other communities. And so this upgrade would bring us up to the most current, and it would be cloud-based, which is what we've been trying to work towards to reduce the number of servers that we need here.
So this is an upgrade, not a
So it's
replacement.
Correct, it's an upgrade. So
And is that going to give us the ability to track things like ADUs and that sort of thing, which we're required to do?
I'm not sure about that, I'll have to check
Okay.
on that.
Because we're required to report to the state,
I am guessing so,
ADUs.
because it's gonna offer a lot more than what we currently have right now.
and we have a lot of existing ADUs. And some of them are listed as 2-family and some are not, and we need to get it cleaned up.
Accessory
That was,
dwelling
that,
units.
I know that the law requires that reporting,
Right.
but I'd have to ask Michelle, the last I remember, on the assessing side, there was still a lot of confusion as to how they would be coded and assessed and how that reporting would be produced.
We need to be able to distinguish between a property with an ADU
Yeah.
and a property that's a 2-family.
Mhm.
Even if today it doesn't impact the assessments, tomorrow it might.
Mhm.
And our records are horrendous. I mean, I can tell you, I have an ADU and it qualifies as a standard ADU.
Mhm.
I will not need to pull a building permit because it's already built
Mhm.
and
Nobody knows.
nobody knows. And how are the assessor's records gonna be updated? And it's not just my house.
Right.
Lori's got an ADU
The dog that didn't bark.
and is listed as a 2-family.
Right.
And I gotta believe that there's a different,
Code.
there'll be different assessment values for properties with ADUs versus 2-families. I would,
You would
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
you would think, I'd have to ask
Yeah.
Michelle, I don't know if that side of it has been sorted out yet for all towns, from
right,
the state down.
but I know that we're issuing building permits for ADUs. I don't know if anybody's tracking them.
Yeah, I think we've had one so far, right?
I don't know. I've heard that there've been several, but I don't know.
How many times does the assessor actually visit the property? With a tape measure?
She visits
Does
after
she?
construction.
Yeah, but I mean, I've lived here 47 years. I've never seen the assessor. And I'm not requesting one.
I-
So I think your first round.
Now, yeah.
The assessor came into my house
That's like,
after I completed
that's
my
like saying I
construction.
haven't been called for jury duty.
Right.
And then it shows up in your mailbox.
Andrea, tell Michelle to put his house on the list.
I already wrote it
Yeah,
down.
He just updated his kitchen.
It's developing software.
guilty, right.
I think he had a building permit though.
I did. Extensive.
Okay, we understand what that's for.
Okay. We're gonna get through this.
The next one, Western Woods Land Surveying, I think we've seen this before, it's been an ongoing project to try and figure out those old logging lots, right, wood lots.
Yeah.
So it was,
Are we actually spending the money each year that's being put aside for that?
not right now. We've had a hiccup because our last land surveyor retired, and we've been searching for a new land surveyor. And a lot of people don't want to take on the new project because it's the old, like, you know, what do you call it, chain and.
Right.
so,
Needed title.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so like,
so many chords and so many.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
But we spoke with the assessor today and she mentioned that she has a meeting with someone that might be interested in doing that.
So how much do we have unspent from prior years?
That's why I am not, like, I put this on because it was requested, but I think that this, you know, probably sort of needs to be in for FY 27. Because she still has a lot of money left over.
Yeah, let's look into that and see.
Yeah.
because,
We've done it for 2 years.
it seems to me, and I just,
Yeah, we haven't put money into it in the last couple of years, but like there is money left over because we haven't
okay, Yeah.
spent it.
So if you
We
can
don't have
just-
Land surveyor to, so if you guys know anyone that likes to do.
What will we do with that information once you guys?
We will be able to like, have a plan for it. I mean, right now it's like unknown lots and, you know, so if you don't know what the property is and who owns it and we can't do anything until we get that information.
Initially relevant, because I think they're supposed to, they're thinking of
An
adding.
area. I'm good to that.
We should just take it.
are we taking land by tax title if they can't?
Can't
find
yet
it?
if we don't, if it's unknown.
Bill.
Say it's ours.
Yeah, we have to bill it and then go through all the process in order to put it to tax out, and then foreclose on it, and we can't do that without.
Well, you have to be able to contact the owner,
Right,
and
Right.
like Essex has this problem on a significant basis.
I think every municipality has this. Whole pad upgrades, self-explanatory. Fire is a officer and command vehicle, we're part of the fleet replacement schedule.
What do you mean officer and command vehicle?
That's the SUV.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's
So it's-
rotating whoever the most superior officer on that.
Is that the red
that
thing?
schedule. Yeah, yeah. Is that what you're asking, or I put something?
Yellow.
Yeah, what vehicle are we replacing? Are we buying a new vehicle or are we replacing a vehicle? And if we're replacing a vehicle, how old is it?
This goes to our long conversation about what vehicles do we own, what year are they, how many
Right.
miles are on, what
Well,
kind of condition,
yeah,
they're in, et cetera.
That, if that's all in the, I think. In the backup in the fleet schedule, we'll give you guys all that information.
Okay.
as we go through it.
And do we have an issue with the chief's car?
Yeah, do we?
Yeah.
plenty more.
Yeah, no, it's been resolved. It's been replaced.
Okay. So we don't need any money in the budget for it.
No, insurance covered the cost.
Okay, good.
Okay.
The next one is the cardiac monitor AED replacement. This is payment 3 of 3. We kind of spread the payment over the 3 years. Next one's the fire engine replacement fund for $350,000.
But is that one of the, is that the total cost or is that?
Payment 3. So
Payment number 3.
Yeah.
I see.
to the last year until they have to start
Thank you.
over
Yes.
again.
Okay.
We last longer than that. Fire engine replacement,
And that's what we agreed to on the schedule,
Right,
correct?
it was like 300, 350, 350.
Yeah, okay.
Firefighting equipment, for 70,000, it's kind of like a lumped in thing to include hose replacement, firefighter turnout gear, cause now they're starting to require the PFAS free turnout gear. Jake still on, wants to talk about that.
Sure, yeah, so this is the line item is to replace some gear and hose, as well as as you know, we were awarded the SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus grant. We also need to upgrade the fill station, which, I believe we have a agreement with another town, kind of a three-way barter system in order to upgrade our system to meet the demands, but this is also has some money as a safeguard in case that doesn't go through, in order to meet the requirements to fill our new SCBA's.
The tank, compressed air tanks.
Yeah, so the new bottles that we wear on our back, are filled to 5,500 PSI. And our old ones were 4,500. So the compressor that was in the building currently only fills to 4,500. So we need to increase the capacity, but we believe we have a town that can use our current compressor, and working with the vendor to kind of move compressors around the Northeast region, so we get the 5,500 PSI. But that's not 100% yet, so I need to have a backup plan if that falls through.
Next is the harbor master section. They requested, the first two kind of go together. It's equipment transport emergency response is a vehicle, a truck to haul the over the road hydraulic trailer. So currently we have a few trailers, some are tied to specific boats. This one would replace those, the ongoing maintenance for two trailers and move it into one. And then this trailer would be able to haul everything.
One trailer with multiple boats?
One at a time.
And what do you do with the boats when they're not on the trailer?
Yeah, put them on stands and store them.
DPW.
Yeah, at the water
treatment
treatment plant.
Water treatment.
And what would it cost to haul the boats from like Crosby's or somewhere? Something would be cheaper.
So Andy, you were working on that today. He put together some numbers actually for saving. So do you have that off the top of your head, Andy?
I don't, but I did give it to Tony. But I can.
As long as we're looking into it, that's fine.
Yeah, so Andy was pulling together kind of a cost comparison to be able to show the potential benefit here.
Question on that is there a service that does that? Like, there used to be Jocelyn, and I wonder if we can contract the boat yards. I mean, we negotiated with the boat yards for dock space and things like that, and at the time they said, hey, can we do anything for the town? One of the things they could do for the town is haul our boats at the end of the year. And, it become a service periodically as opposed to a capital expenditure. I don't know, these numbers just seem high for something that's used to put a boat in at the beginning of the year and take it out at the end of the year. So that's just first impression.
But that also includes hauling during the year to service. It cuts down a lot of the costs that, we've tried especially Byron's tried over the years to kind of cut the costs, trying to do the bottom paint ourselves, trying to do some of the services. But we have the ability to be kind of self-sufficient. I mean, when you're held up to the boat yards, when you can put stuff in, it really holds us back. If we have to get boats in and get them serviced before we send them down for training or regardless, this opens up a lot more doors, and it actually cuts our overall budget substantially.
The trailer also, Andy did touch on it. The regular service throughout the season, oil changes, service required as part of warranty work. We have started doing more of that in-house with Andy on board, and to not have to pay to have the boat go to a boatyard to be hauled. There are significant savings to be had overall with this in-house approach.
Yeah, so he's putting the numbers together.
It's good.
I had a question.
Yes, Dean.
Did we not recently approve a vehicle for Bion? And couldn't that be use it? Is that not big enough to pull a trailer?
We're talking about a new trailer.
Yeah, not a car.
No, what's the
There
what's
is a-
the 75,000 is for the truck to pull it?
75,000.
Yes, so the 75,000 is for the new truck to pull it. It's also going to be our kind of harbor master response. We're part of the port security grants, and because of that, we're required to respond at any instance 24 hours a day from anywhere. So regardless if it's Brian or if it's me, we have to be able to get to the boats and get out there. So that's part of it. The other problem too is right now we currently have a Ranger, which isn't capable of pulling this hydraulic trailer. This hydraulic trailer has the hydraulic pump. It's made of steel. It's made to pull all the way up to the launch, which the launch can run well over 7,000 pounds.
So do you need to upgrade the Ranger or do you need two trucks? I guess is the
Well, I mean, I'll speak to that. I mean, we could replace just the Ranger, but my thing is we send the kids out running to go paint docks, to go pick up stuff all the time, and with this truck, it's got, not only does it have what we need, but it has police sensitive gear in it, because part of our job is doing 90B, which is law enforcement. So we will have the capability of actually doing reports in the truck if we have to, and responding over the road, which we don't want the kids to, obviously, to be able to drive that truck.
They wouldn't be able to. That would not. That wouldn't be a thing. So the smaller truck, the idea is the smaller truck would serve as the little work truck for spring service, handling some of the debris that we pick up and move around. And then it could also be utilized by other departments that needed a vehicle to go to meetings, to get materials. Kittery had a town vehicle. So if a department had to go to a meeting in Augusta, they would take the car. So the truck could also, the small truck could serve that purpose.
Okay,
Or
we're
you could
gonna
trade it
need
in.
more information on this. I'm sorry, you're now talking, you're gonna have two vehicles in a department that 2 years ago had no vehicle. And you're now talking about using it for other departments, and many of the other departments already have vehicles, so we're gonna need more information on this.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be getting into the weeds on any of these
Right,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one of the things to consider though is Brian, you're probably going to be retiring soon, so that truck will be available.
okay, we're through talking about the trucks team.
Okay.
Now we're going to Piers Boats.
We're talking Morse Pier.
Yes.
What's that?
Brian, would you like to speak about the Morse Pier?
Sure, happy to. So the Morse Pier Fisherman's expansion or new product, it's not an expansion, it's the project that brings the floats around to Reed Park, will allow 6 or 7 of our commercial fishermen to have year-round dockage. SEC gave us 80% of the cost to engineer and permit this. That permitting is complete now. 20% was paid for through CPC, voted at a town meeting. And last year, when we were going through this budget process, I requested the 20% share of construction that we need to match the 80% that would be provided by the Seaport Economic Council. And for whatever reason, it didn't make it from the budget request to a vote on the floor. at the town meeting in April. So I'm back asking for that so that we can complete this project and put in our facility for the fishermen.
Okay.
So this is the 20%.
Yep. Yep.
The original told we wouldn't pay anything for.
Thank you.
Public safety boats.
So I'll take that one again. We've requested through a port security grant, the funding for 2 boats to replace. Well, we've discussed the 2 boats that would be replaced. They would replace 2 boats. Last year, when we were going through this process, we requested $100,000 from the Waterway Fund for a portion of the 25% match. And at that time, I understood that the sale of the 2 boats that are being replaced would be used toward the balance of that 25%. And I now understand that that is not the case, can't happen. So this would be the balance of the 25% of the town share for the new boats.
So we'll be paying the 217.5 plus the 116 that we approved last year.
No, it'd be 217 total.
So
So like that should be less than 116. And so like what he was saying about like, last year he only asked for the 116 because he thought if you like sell the boats, you'd get the money in to pay off, but the way my municipal accounting works, I can't do that. I need an appropriation. I can't just spend out of my revenue. So that's why this has been increased.
So the actual cost to the town would be
116.
reduced by the sale of the boats, but you would have the appropriation and just not spend it. So it would go back into free cash.
Well, I would have to spend the appropriation fully to pay for.
Then you get
and then we get the proceeds in.
And then that goes to free cash.
How much the proceeds, the amount of proceeds?
What's that?
What the amount of the proceeds?
The amount of the proceeds is about $100,000 or so.
100,000.
For the sale of the
Sale.
boats?
Estimated.
Yeah, I
You
think,
have more than that?
I had less than that, I had 60 to 80,000 for the sale of
For the safety.
This is for the Eastern and the yellow boat.
Not the Eastern. The Eastern we would keep.
So this is for the yellow boat,
This is for,
orange.
Orange.
right, so
Path onwards. Sorry, I know it's moving fleet stuff. We are.
So what boats are we replacing?
all right, so same as last year, the orange or yellow boat. And then the idea would be that we would sell the Liberty, the aluminum backup launch, and move the Eastern into the backup launch position because it can carry the same exact number of passengers, and it also keeps a shallow water response capability in the harbor. So if we're going to have a 6-passenger vessel, let's have it be able to do more than one thing for us.
So there would be some value attached to that Eastern that's being transferred to the launch service, so we would have to add that to the capital outlay.
And reduce it by whatever we got for the backup launch.
Liberty.
Yes.
Is the Liberty one of the launches that Tom Bishop sold us?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so by that, Sarah, you're saying we're not just gonna give the Eastern to the launch service.
Right.
The launch service.
Yeah, so the launch service is a little business.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Andrew, where's the 116 that got appropriated this year?
Right, yes.
No,
But
what happens to the 116?
we can keep, it's still there and I can carry it over.
Oh. The
This
answer
would
is,
this would add to it.
so it's not implicated by this complicated transaction.
We're still targeting the same pair of boats that we talked about a year ago.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So just to understand, I'm sorry, I'm gonna step behind you. So we have 116 allocated from last year and we have 217 we're asking for
No,
this year.
1015 for this
Okay,
year.
all right, got it.
The 217.5 is the total,
It's a total, thank you.
right?
Yes.
So it
Thank
should
you.
be changed to 101.
Thank you. Okay, got it.
All right, dredging.
I have a question.
What's this for?
The harbor, it's, well, it's a
This is the actual
contingency.
dredging, not permits and stuff.
This is the actual dredging.
Okay,
Okay, I understand that.
got it.
I think
Is that
a lot of
the
these,
money we have from dredging fees? I mean, we now have a fee for dredging where a boat mooring. Right, is that right, Tom?
Yeah, that's as part of your,
And this is a
Fee.
net, this is a net number. This is after you.
No,
No,
this would be the total and then we would determine where the payment's coming from.
thank you. Okay,
right.
thank you.
I had a question on the harbor capital, please.
Yes,
I'm wondering if we can delineate anything. I mean, right now, this marine budget, our priority's got to be the rotunda. And as any of this could be postponed to get the rotunda done, that's obviously the priority. Now, I have a strong feeling that if the Economic Development Council would give us more for the rotunda, if we said we were willing to postpone the 430 Morse Pier, because we just fixed Morse Pier less than 10 years ago. So maybe we could put that off to prioritize the rotunda. It's just a suggestion that, you know, everything's in a state of flux, but maybe if you identify things that you really need to have, it would help us down the road.
okay, thank you. So is that something we can check into? Is it,
Yeah.
it's coming from the same source? Is it?
I don't know what's the source of the Morse Pier grant, Bion?
Morris Pier grant is Seaport Economic Council.
Okay, so it is the same source. But
It
it's
is?
a new round.
Okay.
Bion, do you think that would have any implication on, or any impact on our possibility of getting the SCC grant for Rotunda?
No, it won't. And it's just for some clarification, the Tux Point Rotunda is a Parks and Rec facility. It's not a harbor facility, so the harbor funds.
It's our marine priority right now. That's all. Yeah.
It's in the harbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's right on.
So on the dredging, I know there's been, the desires for the harbor to, pay for itself. 1.9, obviously, we would have to. I would think this would be a debt exclusion type project, but how the harbor, how the harbor fees would pay that. That part we haven't really figured out yet.
Would almost have to be a bond, wouldn't it?
I think so, yeah, especially the debt service stuff.
Right.
Okay, let's keep going.
I'll try and talk fast.
Okay,
Computer IT upgrades, we were trying to be on a 3-year schedule for computer replacement. We're actually past year 5. So this is, majority of this is for a complete revamp of all the computers.
to move to a 3-year schedule.
Eventually, I would like to be on a 3-year schedule, yes.
This is for hardware?
Yes.
Does this take into account Windows 11, the whole Windows 11, Windows 10 thing? Okay.
There's some I also included in here a vulnerability assessment. So previously, if you remember, we did a penetration testing. They also recommend doing the vulnerability test as well. The library construction funding for the ADA bathroom and additional repairs. We just heard today that preliminary, like what was it, 50% design came in?
I think they're in 15% design and it's gonna, their number right now is less than 300. It's closer to 200, I think, so. They will have 90% design in December, so we'll have a better idea of what this number is gonna be.
Didn't we appropriate this money and then never got used?
No, that was, well, we took it back
Took it back. So it
because,
went back into free cash.
yeah,
Okay.
because they didn't use it
Yep.
and this is a completely different plan.
Thank you.
Because the other one required them to remove stacks.
And had an exterior.
I don't know
This is
what it
interior.
was. I don't
Yeah.
know.
This is
This is off the
interior.
children's room, I think.
Right.
Yeah. It's an
But
addition.
they got us back because we only took back 250,000. This one's 300. So
It
maybe it
may
would have
come
been,
down to 200, so
yeah.
time will tell.
Yeah.
Next is the annual police vehicle.
Yep.
Also is the TASER certification. I believe this is the last payment. We've had this 12,600 in there for. a few
Oh, I
years
thought
now.
last year was the last payment. I
No,
guess that was
year
off a
five.
year. Okay.
Public Works fleet replacement, $70,000, I believe for a truck.
So again, we're
Is-
gonna need to know what is being
Yeah.
replaced and how old it is and how many miles it
These
is.
are
Whole
one
fleet
fifties,
schedule and everything.
250s,
Yeah.
350s.
I was just gonna ask, on the fleet schedule thing, if you could let us know, like, how many vehicles are licensed? And then also, if possible, what the insurance is on these things? I mean, it's becoming really complicated figuring out what's coming and going. Particularly these capital lists, and I think if we could tag it down to what's the cost of operating the thing, registration and insurance, and what's the vehicle life, that'd be great.
There were 23 as of our close of our last budget cycle.
Yeah.
But so that's a number to try to see if we can now account for.
The next two, drainage and sidewalks and roadway improvements are kind of our annual plan. Bennett Street reconstruction is the planning and
Design.
design for Bennett Street. General building maintenance, 75,000. We increased it a little bit for other projects that we anticipated being a little bit more expensive.
Does that include the library?
No.
Why isn't the library included in this line? And the reason I'm saying that is because the amount we have to spend on materials is a function of the library budget. And it seems to me this is a town building, and if the maintenance for all the town buildings are in this budget, the library should be in here.
So-
We could put it in there, it just can't, it's listed this way because it came from it was a library request. So this is how they came in, these requests came into us from each of these departments.
No, I'm talking about general library maintenance. There's nothing under the library for that.
In the operating
Oh, as
budget?
opposed to the bathroom.
Correct.
General building maintenance.
I thought you
Right.
meant as opposed to bathroom.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about general
This would
building
include.
maintenance. It should
Cheryl,
be the
Right.
library.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do
It does.
inspections
We
and
do that.
water inspections, all that stuff. It
We
does.
try
still
that.
have my hand.
Try to do that because, under the library, in order to stay as a, accredited library, 18.5% of your total budget has to be spent on materials.
Right.
So if you throw in
Right.
a significant building expense in there, has a trickle down effect to all the other costs. So we try to kind of
Pare it down.
The library
move it
is,
into a separate budget.
Good.
Next one is 4.1 million for the complete Tappan Street reconstruction. Water, sewer, paving, sidewalks, drainage,
Yeah,
all that.
underground utilities,
Everything.
talked about everything.
is this a 20? Oh, it is a 20, next year's 27. This is
Yeah.
a 27, yeah, that's what Chuck said to us.
The next one is $2 million for the DPW facility.
So this is the next phase of design for DPW or public safety combination. It's likely that we won't be ready for this at Springtown meeting. But we did want to put it in, make sure it's on
Okay.
our radar.
Next one's sewer treatment plant, 600,000. Again, this is like our annual expenditure for that. Water.
I have a
main-
comment.
Annual expenditure.
Yes,
We usually
Dean.
set aside funds in capital for
Like,
system improvement,
like filters and replacement of,
equipment.
Yep.
And things like that, yes.
Yes, Dean.
Yeah, I was wondering if we shouldn't be paying down the bond money we've allowed for the sewer before we do the another 600,000. I mean, I think we have like 3.5 million sitting there, right?
Well,
We haven't spent that money yet though. So how do you pay it down? And the
So
600
why
is
are you
for
asking for
additional
more?
work. Because it's not for that. It's over and above that.
Okay. What is there a bid schedule for that sewer plant?
Spring.
Okay.
Okay, next one.
Next one. 12 million for water plant improvements and the PFAS upgrades.
And that's just Lincoln Street well.
It is.
Mhm. And then plus there's you just skipped
Okay,
over the
skipped a
million
million.
for water main improvements.
and does this actually cover the PFAS problem?
For
At
Lincoln
Lincoln
Street.
Street.
Lincoln Street.
So we got another well.
Gravelly
We got
pond.
Gravelly
It's gotta be
Pond Treatment Center.
At the main water treatment plant.
But as Chuck was explaining to me, they have to do them at separate points in time because they need to keep one thing running while the other one's closed.
Right.
So he'll come back for the next one next year. Or,
Or in 5 years.
no, we're not waiting that long.
Well, I don't think Gravelly's out of compliance anyway, but it will be if we keep that compost facility there.
And what does this
That's
cover?
not
Is
true.
it Construction, is it?
This 12 million is construction at Lincoln Street.
Yep, I knew it was Lincoln
They
Construction.
have to enlarge the building, correct, to have room for the,
Additional.
Yeah.
Actually, no, Sarah, we won't actually have to enlarge the building. That was why we did piloting over the last 12 months or so. We're actually gonna have good news on that front. We won't need to build a new building at Gravelly Pond. We'll just need to retrofit the filters with the DAC material that we're gonna be using at Lincoln Street. So we've got a plan. We'll have to do a full design.
Chuck, she was referring to Lincoln Street.
Right, that will need a new building. I'm sorry. I thought we were still talking about Gravelly.
so Gravelly will be less expensive.
Yes, correct.
And a separate project,
So Chuck, is there any permitting constraints on doing Lincoln Street that might upset the schedule? Or is it just do it?
No, it's all, I mean, it's local Concom approval we'll need, which we're about to submit for. DEP is, approved our piloting studies and all that kind of stuff. So we will have a formal submittal to DEP for the construction portion, but that should be a, just routine type submittal and approval. So I don't see any deal breakers in this, keeping us from going to design and full design and then construction.
So that's total request from departments is 24.3. And then what we added after that was Council on Aging, the senior center, Central Street culvert and rotunda. So all of these are kind of unique. With the senior center, we're likely going to have to borrow the funds up front. And then that would be reimbursed through the fundraising effort. Whether there's two pieces to that. One, for us, when we go to do a project, we have to have the money in hand in order to sign a contract. So whether it's, sooner or later, there's that element of it. There's also the sooner we can get the project started. It's if, cost of construction tends to increase year by year. And then lastly, with ECCF, which is Essex County Community Charitable Foundation, they're the nonprofit that's actually going to be doing the fundraising or the fundraising will go through them and they can't just provide us money as it's raised. We actually, it's actually like an invoice transaction.
Like reimbursement.
So are they managing the fundraising effort? And has that started?
No,
It hasn't started formally yet. Part of that is because the condo docs and the closing on the property is the next big step. Part of that is also the final design.
AKA we don't own it yet.
I thought,
Sorry, I guess.
Well,
that
this-
was back about
This
6
is so
months.
slow that we're gonna all be seniors by the time
Yes.
that it happens.
So support
It's sort of
support
an
now.
organic idea.
did they break the news to you?
Oh, no.
Really would like to see this deferred to next year's budget. I
Yeah.
have a serious concern about appropriating money when we haven't started fundraising, we don't own the building. And in October of '24, I had to rush a ZBA decision so that the documents could be signed, so that we could close on the purchase by the end of October '24.
How do you feel about this?
I have no confidence
It's gonna
we'll
be
be
for our
ready
kids.
to build in the
Well, also at the town meeting, I certainly remember somebody saying, if you guys put up the $1 million that
Yes.
we're gonna put up,
Yes,
that's
exactly.
all you're gonna have to
Right.
put up, because the rest of it's gonna be funded by
Right.
all the nice people in town, and there, we sure got a lot of nice, rich people, which is
Right.
great, so that's fine, but this isn't,
Yeah.
it doesn't follow
We
with what
need
was
to see the results of the fundraising effort.
Right,
I'd like to see, so some of the fundraising may be a 3-year process. That could be in terms of commitment, there could be commitment from certain donors that they're gonna fundraise so much each year.
That's fine.
It'd be nice to have that, have a better understanding of that when you're going to town meeting to say that this fundraising effort is happening and it is going to
Right.
pay for this.
Right.
To give them that sense of security, so, I will say, we had a very positive meeting today on the design, and we have had, I said it today during department head meeting, for the first time since I've been here, I feel confident saying we are extremely close to closing on the property. We are aligned with the Masons on the condo. We're close, really close. I've never said that yet.
But you said it tonight.
I said it tonight.
Marcus.
So just as a thought, in the world of nonprofit development, it's a whole lot easier to raise money when you have a cause in front of you, as opposed to repaying a municipal bill that's already been paid. And I have a hard time thinking how that's gonna work out from a motivational point of view with people. It's just, when you're trying to build a hospital, you have a thermometer out front, everybody wants the hospital and the thermometer, they do it. This is a hard one. The other one is, I'm just jumping ahead a little bit. We're looking at about 35 million on this sheet when we add this up. The other big elephant in the room is Essex Elementary, which is coming up probably within the next 24
Is that
or 36
Fiscal
months.
year '28 or
But we're talking about a number that's gonna be big.
the date from Andy?
Yeah.
Are we talking fiscal year '28 to have to fund that, appropriate that?
So construction, I think would probably be 28. I think would be sort of the
Fiscal 28.
fiscal 28.
Beginning of '28 or the end of '28?
No, I'm actually thinking calendar dates.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't-
so
my
it'd
brain
be
doesn't work
fiscal
fiscal.
20.
Beginning of '28 or end?
I think beginning of 28.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's fiscal year '28 budget.
But taxpayers, they see one number and then a year later, they're seeing a number that's probably approaching 2 times this number.
What?
I think we
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to think about this here.
I
It's
think
about
that
the,
what we need, I think the next steps are to convert into the impact on the tax rate. I think we have to take the normal capital, a lot of this is normal capital.
Right.
Have the normal capital look at that and see what portion can be paid
If you
from
go to
fund
the-
balance.
If you go to the other page, that's.
Thank you.
Split into two boxes, and I tried to start, that's why I did it this way. Cause when you get down to the $30 million
Yeah, I see what
number,
you're
you
saying.
start
Yeah.
kind of thinking about it that way. But
Yeah.
so COA, we talked about that Central Street culvert is a kind of, it's the secondary backup plan. So we have brick funding, but it expires in April. It could get an extension. We don't know yet. We're applying for an MVP grant that could be a backup funding source if the brick grant doesn't, if the brick grant falls through. This would be a backup to that. That's another.
So we appropriate, but don't necessarily ever have to spend it.
Right.
Right.
And then Rotunda, same thing. So we've applied for the SEC grant. We should know in the next month or so. Typically you find out in November, but the application process was delayed a little bit more than a month. So it may be December, January that we find out. But CPC, we were thinking of a CPC borrowing article, and their application deadline is December 1st.
So loose deadline.
I understand, but this is a big number. So we're gonna submit the application to CPC just to put it, just so that they're aware that this is something that we may pursue unless, we wanted to go a different road. So when you look at this other page and you start to separate those out, reoccurring to some of the larger numbers that would be capital or debt exclusion, you can start to see how that rounds out. Even, if you were to say yes to everything on this sheet, which I'm sure we're not going to, but if you were to, that 3.33 number, exceeds our ability within taxation and fund balance that it's going to. So, we started to kind of talk about that, we could move, like there's some of the things up in this upper box that you could move down and combine. For instance, like Tappan Street reconstruction, you could add roadway improvements, drainage and sidewalk, Bennett Street design, if you want, those are some of the different things we could think about.
Yeah, I think we need to understand the numbers behind it. I think the other thing that we've been doing in prior years is the 660,000 capital exclusion. And I think that if we move away from that, it will fund a large portion of the long-term bonding. I think Andrea's concern is she wants to keep the cash exclusion until we're actually ready to start paying for bonds. So that there's not a 2% drop in the rate and then go back up. So we need to figure out when we're gonna start paying off bonds, and if it's in this fiscal year, then the capital exclusion should be decreased by the amount we're gonna spend on those ones we approved before in prior years.
And you can't really, I guess you could, but we were talking a little bit about this, like it'd be strange, I guess, if you were asking for the same, capital exclusion for the same project as the debt exclusion.
Right, it'd have to be different, the capital exclusion would have to probably come from the normal.
Right.
The
Right,
normal
so that-
capital
So
items,
you could leave the
yeah,
drain, you could do the roadway stuff in that,
and have the stuff at the bottom be the long-term debt.
right? Tap and be the long term, and then it kind of shifts into that, they're both.
And I think we need the calculations you know, several ways, like if we defer the DPW facility and the Council on Aging, you know, what impact that is on the tax rate. I think we have about 1.5% left in excess levy capacity.
Yep.
Which we need to think about using.
So one question is, I think the upper box, lower box makes a lot of sense, and it's a pattern we've used before. Tappan Street, you know, is that really a one-time, and I'm thinking about road work of that magnitude, is that a one-time event, or in 2 years are we gonna be doing
Bennett Street.
Bennett Street and somebody else? And, you know, at some point, it's, you know, I don't know, Tony, maybe this list ought to be, what do we do for annual capital? What's the sort of 5-year recurring? And then what's the stuff we're doing now that's gonna have, we don't see it for 20 years or 10 years or 15 years, that kind of perspective, because I know Tappan, we did Pleasant. You know, Pleasant was a big undertaking, you know, for the town. It was disruption and just, but I think we're always faced with some of that. We can't get away from it. It's a
That's
necessity.
why we have that lesser, you know, roadway improvement, drainage, sidewalks as kind of like your
Standard.
standard, because those are roads that might not need underground utilities and,
Yep.
you know, but some of these roads need
Big work.
big work.
Tappan is very much one, I think.
Oh, it's not
This
just the
is-
road.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, this kind of looks at, this is your. You've seen, this predates me, but this is a long-term.
Yes, this is the 40-year.
Yep.
And we didn't even print the whole thing out, because.
Oh, okay, you just did part of it. Yeah. This is what you were asking about last week. Yeah, exactly.
Constructive.
Thank you, by the way, for helping me find it.
So that was kind of where I was going too, is we've had. Success with the way that. You know, we've approached town meeting on a lot of the way that we've done things with that capital exclusion and, you know, larger projects doing bonds and the debt exclusion vote. But we're now kind of entering this new chapter of these really large numbers becoming kind of like a reoccurring element, and you know, to continue that annual capital exclusion number on top of it on an annual basis, it starts to, you know, you as a resident, you start going to the ballot box on an annual basis going, this is really,
It's getting big.
yeah. So we gotta start thinking about. We do have to start thinking about long-term and how. Because, you know, what you do this year could. Have a detrimental impact on the big number question, the big, you know, money project that's coming up next year. Because as a resident, you might say, wait, I just approved 12, 15, 16 million last year. And now I got another.
But we've been laying the groundwork for that.
Yeah, and that's why I want.
I mean, I think we've made it clear to people that we have a lot of capital and we're gonna need long-term debt every year. So I don't see there's an issue of going every year to the ballot box for a debt exclusion. I see it.
Well, I'd like to
as a
add,
general override.
Sarah,
What?
I'd like to add that we have been looking at maybe even doing a maintenance bond to do this roadway work and spread it out over, you know, time. But it might be worth the interest to do that. But what isn't really tolerable is to put maintenance stuff like that outside of the 2.5%. So if we do a maintenance bond, we need a fund to pay for it within the 2.5%. And I think we can leverage a lot more work. We're just going to have to pay interest, but that's how.
I'm not in favor of doing a maintenance bond. I think that
It's recurring.
you know, when I do maintenance on my house, I don't go out and borrow it. You know, I think maintenance, you need to pay cash, and bonding should be for long-term capital improvements.
Yeah, I guess when I said maintenance, I meant upgrading the sewer and the drainage and the, you know, these things have annual costs, and we haven't done them for 50 years, and
We
there's a
have,
backlog.
we've been spending millions every year on that stuff.
I guess it's not enough.
Is there's so much, and Chuck can speak to this, but what I'm always hearing is there's so much change and improvement that the town can sustain in a given year. Pleasant Street was a good example. You know, we did a lot of work on Pleasant Street. It's incredibly disruptive. The town got a little antsy. So there's a certain amount of work we can do on an annual basis. And I think if we ask Chuck, what's the amount of work that has to be done across the entire town? We've probably got 25 years of continuous work all the time. So this is an ongoing recurring cost. I think front loading it and lumping it up in a bond is going to be, I don't know, I would just keep, I'd just keep whittling away at it like the way we've been doing, but maybe I'm missing the picture.
I think we're on a good path for the, you know, pipes and wires and
Right.
road effort, you know, and I don't see a reason to change that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
You know, so if we have a lot of projects coming, we have to keep track of our aggregate debt. We can't issue unlimited debt either, so.
Right.
Yeah, I think the debt service can't be more than 10%. The operating budget, is that correct?
The debt service,
Couldn't be.
debt service, but we're also talking about total amount of
I
debt.
don't think there's limits on that.
No, there are limits, but our bond rating.
No one's gonna
would
buy
be
a bond.
affected.
Yeah, it's a certain percentage or equalized valuation of the entire
Yeah.
town.
Okay.
Well, and I also know, you know, that what we talked about the last time was being a little bit more conservative on our revenues and kind of shrinking that free cash amount. So we start to kind of like, if we're really tight on that side of it, the cash amount that you're gonna have on an annual basis to put towards the house maintenance.
From free cash.
Yeah, so now we're kind of
Pushing at both ends.
Well, yeah,
a little bit.
but I think we need to just kind of
But I think
take this and figure out where it lies and figure out,
to get into the details of some of this.
right,
What is appropriate for 27 and what might get pushed to
right.
28.
And we can't really do that if we don't have the numbers regarding the impact on the tax rate, I think. Because that's really what.
Yeah.
I mean, we were kind of,
It's, by the way, back to the school question, I think that they're starting to explore the idea of potentially making that ask in the fall of 26.
The Essex Elementary.
Construction ask?
Yeah,
No.
it has to get, you know, so if they get through the schematic design. Yeah, I think we'd probably come to this time next year, so it'd be like a fall town meeting. Yeah.
Oh, so it's much sooner.
Where there would be, no, well, that's the ask to go forward with the project. You know, right now we're in schematic design, at the end of schematic design with the state, you determine the budget for the project, and then that budget gets put before the town. Yes or no,
I see.
and project goes forward, but you still have to complete design,
I see.
you know, which is about.
and so then the appropriation for the construction
Comes later.
would be later.
That's when the real, you know, the bonding needs to happen.
And that you're saying
So
is 20,
I think
beginning at 28.
But it goes before the voters.
Yeah,
It goes before the voters about a year from now. I'm thinking it's from a political perspective. You know, we're talking about this stuff and voters about a year from now.
But does that include the appropriation a year from now? Or is that just moving forward on the project?
I thought it was the appropriation, I thought
Because
they
you
were
can't-
looking for like, they were thinking about potentially in the fall of
Right.
26.
I'm trying to remember how the appropriation worked because, you don't actually start paying for it. They're not.
For years,
They're not-
right.
Right,
They
right.
don't have a shovel.
But
in
the
ground.
ask,
Right.
but the ask, and the same thing I'm thinking about it politically is if you're deferring COA and DPW and all that's hitting in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they're voting for yes or no on a whatever, $7 million project.
So this implies timing, as I recall. In our last look at this long schedule, when a project's debt service comes into effect.
Correct.
Are there major timing changes? I'm thinking what you're saying about the school. Am I correct to think that the debt service for the school would be in 33? Am I reading that? Oh, it was 30. I'm sorry, it's 31.
You do short term, you do bans until the project's completed.
Yes.
So you have to know your timeline for each project in order to know.
And the question I'm
when it's
asking is,
gonna
has
come
our
through.
timeline changed?
I don't know.
Well, I think when we originally put this together, we were hoping that Essex Elementary would kick into gear around 2031 or 2030. And we would roll off debt from the high school, but we would not be
Yes.
covering 3 sets of debts at the same time. But I think the project is advanced, Essex Elementary. So this is out of date. But the whole logic with this was, how do we move through the next roughly 30 years, 25 years, and not end up with a great big lump somewhere where we are gonna be like, damn. So that was the objective.
So Andy, on the school, what's your opinion as to when the bond payments are likely to kick in?
I think it's probably like a 2-year job, construction wise, so if it starts in.
So it's gonna
28,
start in 28?
And then it's, maybe finishes in 30,
Okay.
and then.
So this is a year different?
So maybe it's.
Well, no, and then you issue the debt and then you pay it the next year.
Right.
Okay.
So it's.
Oh, you issued the
it's
other
not too, I don't think it's too different from what we're showing.
Yeah.
And I think, the school is an exception of a project or of a debt impact that kind of looks down, 5 years or so from now. Most of these other things are, in my mind, we're sort of looking at this, 3 to 5 year kind of window as we go along. There's no
Right.
benefit in looking
Right.
too deeply, past FY 30 or so.
So I think that on these projects, we're talking about bonding. We need to understand from the time, if we appropriate money, like at the April town meeting, when would construction be completed? When would we have to start paying the bond payments? And approximately what would those be as on the tax rate? So that we can lay out not just what we're approving, but when we're actually gonna have to pay for it, because that's important to people.
And
Sarah,
that's the implication of this.
Right,
So what
right.
Ray just said.
one other component that you should add, though, is bonds that we've already approved that haven't hit yet because they'll come.
Correct, right.
Yeah,
Yes, agreed.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important just to understand, because these are big numbers.
Yes. And a lot of them.
But if you can explain the impacts on the tax rate, it makes it easier for people to understand.
On the PFAS, so we've applied to DEP for SRF loan there, so it's a state revolving fund. It's a low interest, long-term borrowing with potential debt forgiveness. I would think that for this exercise, you ignore the possibility of debt forgiveness, right?
I like the
Or
sound of
that-
that.
Love it, but.
But for that
Chickens
project,
to lay hatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for that project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing.
But there's debt service to that fund. I mean,
Well, I'm not quite sure.
I don't.
Oh, it's cheaper,
yeah.
paper, I got it, that's what we're driving, okay.
At one point last year, weren't we targeting the PFAS plant as an override item? Or possibly?
No,
No? Okay.
we've never talked a general override. We've talked debt exclusions, which are overrides.
Right. Okay. Right.
Okay. So I think we really need that information before we discuss this again. And I think the question is do we want to have a meeting in December to go over capital again, in addition to the meeting we have with the select board for the presentation of the budget?
I think so.
I think we need more information on this, so.
Well, I mean, once we get that.
Right.
Yeah.
But, I think we have to allow for enough time for a full discussion.
Right.
So, and my point there is if the general presentation of the budget.
It needs to be a separate meeting.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
that's what I think.
And maybe homework that comes out of this,
Yeah.
discussion.
So what's a reasonable timeline for putting together the information we've requested? I just know the schedule doesn't get any easier when we get into next year.
Yeah.
Right.
When do you, let me ask this, when do you typically do the meeting with the select board?
The, wait a minute, it's normally would be
Middle
like
of December?
third week, like the fifth, generally it's been at a select board meeting, right, Ann?
Yeah.
So that would put it like the 15th,
Of what month?
December.
December.
We like to stay away from Christmas week. Please. So, I mean, it could be, the joint meeting could be on a Thursday with a FinCom meeting. If the select board agreed.
Right.
You mean like the 18th? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if they need more time to put it together, is what
Yep,
I'm
yep,
thinking.
yep.
I can't imagine, looking at the calendar, I can't imagine with next week, that we would be ready with that information early the first week of December. I feel like it would have to be the week before the 15th, like the week of the 8th. But is that too tight to the meeting with the select board?
Oh, no, I see this as kind of separate.
Oh, okay.
I mean, normally some years we've done capital in, February or March, and we're trying to move it up. And so I think, we can't finish the capital until we understand what the operating budget is. But I think that there's so much on this list, it would be nice to winnow it down some if it makes sense.
We need more than one pass at it that February, March allows.
Right.
So even if we end up revisiting it, then, we've got a lot of it on.
For final numbers, yeah. So do we want to meet on the 11th? To do capital?
That's okay by me.
Yeah.
Second pass of capital?
And Wednesdays are out, right? Because of your schedule. Is that
We
right?
could do Wednesday, the 10th that week.
I can do Wednesday the 10th. That'd be my preference. I'd like to be there.
Are people
I
available
definitely
on
can.
Wednesday the 10th?
I cannot make the 10th, but
John, are you?
I'll be away that.
That week?
but, you know.
What's the decision?
Either way works for me.
Either one's fine.
Let's go for the 10th.
The 10th?
The 10th, if you, with.
Sure.
Okay. And that was just to capital. Nothing else.
Good luck.
So we do capital on the 10th and then meet with the select board on the 15th.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a Monday.
Which is where we usually meet.
Right, exactly. And that will be presentation of the joint budget, and then January 8th, we'll start our weekly meetings. And usually that first meeting, we just kind of peruse the whole budget and see if there's specific areas where we're gonna want more information, and then set the schedule.
And that's likely going to be Thursdays going forward, is that the more, yes.
I think that's what we agreed
So
to.
would we still be meeting with the board, select board on the 15th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the meeting on the 15th, it's just pretty, it's just pretty cursory.
Actually, I have a building committee meeting that night, so I might skip.
Okay, yeah, and then, because then that gives people time to look at it before we meet on January 8th, so that people can have highlighted the areas where they think want more information.
Yeah.
Okay,
And the budget will come electronically, how will it be presented, if operating budget now, I'm talking about?
Whatever you guys are used to.
This year, I have ClearGov back, so I plan, yay, plan to do a PDF. No, and if anyone wants a physical copy, we didn't make one.
And as numbers get varied, will they be updated in the PDF? Or
Yes.
as we go along through the weeks?
I'll probably just update those specific pages.
That's all,
Yeah.
yes, because they get, sometimes there's adjustments as we go along.
So you'll reissue the PDF each time? Or you'll have it as like a shared doc or?
I don't know, what would be better, like, is it best to reissue the entire PDF or just the specific pages?
Entire.
The entire
thing?
Change
Absolutely, the entire.
And we have 4 addendum pages, and we're trying to remember which
Yes.
addendum goes back to the old
it
one.
goes back to the
We end up
summary,
with too many files open.
Right.
impacts the summary, and
Yeah, exactly.
it gets very confusing for
I was
us.
gonna say, if you just like even rev number it like the week, whatever week you do. So like if you did February 2nd and then you revved it, it's February 11th and February 17th. Then we all can look at it and go, oh yeah, we're all on the 17th, yeah, well, here we go. Possible.
That's workable.
Does that work for everyone? Are you okay with that,
I'll
Andy?
do my best, and if I run into any issues, I will let you know.
Okay. Okay.
Of course, there.
Hey, what was that? Sorry.
It's an optical
Oh,
post.
no.
Is that like your cloud? You upload it into the cloud that everybody has access, or you email it out to everybody?
We don't have SharePoint or anything. We don't have access to SharePoint. Because we don't have Manchester emails. Because we're not elected, so we don't count.
Oh, is that the rule? You have to be elected?
You find it, why not?
I mean, but if we figured something out, would that be helpful?
It depends how we access it.
As a shared document.
No, he's not
Having
talking, I
like
think
a-
they're talking,
Having like a drop off.
SharePoint is more like
Oh, I see.
Dropbox.
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
That would be great.
I mean, saves from like emailing and attaching and all that kind of.
Just so everything is
Okay.
in one spot.
Yeah.
I think look into it.
I mean, there's also an online version of, ClearGov, like
That's,
a website,
yeah.
they can go to that'll be the same as a PDF,
But
but it's different.
so that would
format.
work well if we actually refer to it.
Right.
And like put it up on the screen, what have you, because it's formatted differently.
It is.
I've kind of started to figure out how to track the conversations, but it was a little
There's no
technical.
like page numbers like it is on the PDF.
Exactly, yeah.
If you wanted to get a hard copy, could you come to town hall and get a hard copy?
Absolutely, let me know.
Let Andrea know.
Absolutely.
We've got lots more on our agenda, but it's 9:20. Do we skip the updates?
Yes.
Okay. I was asked to put Gordon Woods on the agenda because there's been some, I guess Erica Brown has been
She's been asking, so we.
looking for information. And, based on what I know, there's no definitive plan. There's no, we don't even know if a project is gonna occur because they're still doing their due diligence. And it seems to me we don't wanna spin any of our wheels until something's actually presented to the select board. And I would suggest that we probably don't want to do any, when we had SLV, we did financial, something or other. I would suggest we don't even want to get involved in it probably until March or April.
I think her question is really about the logic that was used in the past, and would this committee use the same logic going forward?
And
So,
I don't want to get into that at this point. I think it's premature for her to be asking us questions. We don't know what logic we would use until we know what the project is. I mean, we've always had a position of, we don't do things, like, we don't do things on zoning changes.
We used to at one point though.
Oh, because
A long time ago.
they're too nebulous, but we do things when there's a specific project.
right.
And like the MBTA zoning we could do because there was a consultant that actually came back with the projected number of units. So I don't really want her pushing us when there's nothing out there. Is that fair?
Yes.
I think it's reasonable.
It's fine.
You good with that, Tony?
Sounds good to me.
I feel if it's a similar type of project to what Shingle Mill was, and if it does become a reality, that we probably should do a similar evaluation as we did with Shingle Hill, but because that's probably what she's looking for. But you're right, it doesn't need to come until it's an issue, but at some
Right.
point.
I'm just concerned that, one question leads to another question, leads to another question, and I just don't think we're in a position to commit to anything at this point, except that, if a project comes forward, the finance committee would do its due diligence and determine the methodology to be used at that point. That's not me digging, is it?
Somewhere.
Okay. October minutes, if people have a chance to look at those.
So you're fine with me.
That's fine.
They're fine by me. I wish they'd spell my name correctly. That's all.
Oh,
I know, it's a minor thing.
it's spelled.
If you just drop one N, it's not twinning, it's twinning. So maybe we could ask Gail just to drop an
Make sure, make sure Gail know, I mean, it's my understanding that we're now using AI.
Ah, well.
And
That's,
so-
that's no,
So
Your
she,
name has been changed.
that's no promise.
she needs to know that she
Halo.
needs to look for twinning.
I need my annual reminder. Sorry, Peter.
Okay, Gail's got it.
Thank you, Gail.
I move we approve the October minutes.
I had a comment, on the CPC liaison. They said something about a state 1.6% rate, but it was the state match was 1.6% or 16% is what was said. On the liaison side, it was just, it wasn't the
Get
state.
that, Gail?
Yeah, I'll, as edited, 1.6. Got it.
Yeah, it's 16%,
16%.
and it's not the tax rate, it's the state match.
I got it.
Okay.
And
Anything
I
else?
changed ours name to yours, Dean.
Yes, yeah.
Change my name, but don't misspell
Okay, do you move to approve the amended minutes?
it. Yes.
And you seconded, Andy?
Andy seconded, yeah.
Take a vote. John doesn't vote because he wasn't there. Gar?
Yes.
Peter?
I wasn't there.
Peter wasn't there. Maury?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Sarah? Yes. Dean?
Yes.
Okay, minutes are approved. And we have our next meeting date. Is there anything else we need to discuss? Since I skipped over some items tonight.
I
Okay.
would like, hello,
Second.
trying to raise my hand. There it is. I wanted to mention, on the senior center, there was a thought I didn't get to say that the more I look at this, it doesn't look like it's gonna meet the needs. Just that one part of it, I just see all the town offices up front and I look at what size room is left and I look at other towns and, they have old elementary schools and stuff like that. And I just don't see people getting inspired to fund this blue room. So where I was going at wasn't going to be negative, but to think outside of the box, what I was wondering, because our post office is huge next to all the other ones, would the Postal Service consider downsizing from that facility into the blue room? And we could use that as something like that would be something that people would fund,
Dean, I like your ideas, but the fact of the matter is we're under agreement with the Masonic Lodge. And there is a group of people who are working on the plans for the building. And our responsibility is to discuss the funding piece and not the building itself.
Well, I'm thinking that would be easier to fund if we had a different building, but anyway.
Then make that suggestion to the fundraising people.
You're right. Okay.
Okay?
I get it. It's
Thank
just
you.
a feeling I'm getting from the town. Yeah.
Can I take a vote to adjourn?
Yes.
Andrew, Maury,
Yes.
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Gar,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Sarah, yes, Dean, yes,
Yes.
thank you.
I'll put my hand down.
You brought it home, Sarah. Thank you.
Can somebody hit that end button?
Nothing.